The squeak of sneakers on polished wood echoed through the empty gymnasium. Alex, a skinny kid with a mop of sandy blonde hair, dribbled the basketball with a practiced ease that belied his 14 years. He wasn't the tallest, or the strongest, but he had a gift. A feel for the game that some said couldn't be taught. He weaved through imaginary defenders, his eyes fixed on the hoop. A crossover dribble to the left, a quick hesitation, and then a burst of speed towards the basket. He leaped, the ball arcing perfectly from his fingertips, swishing through the net without even touching the rim. A grin spread across his face. He loved this. The rhythm of the dribble, the challenge of the shot, the feeling of the ball leaving his hand just right. Basketball wasn't just a game to Alex, it was a passion, a way to express himself, a dream he clung to with every fiber of his being. He picked up the ball and dribbled to the three-point line. He took a deep breath, visualizing the shot. Up, release, perfect arc swish. Again and again, he practiced, each shot fueled by a burning desire to improve. He knew he had a long way to go, but he was willing to put in the work. Alex had been playing basketball since he could walk. His dad, a former high school player himself, had taught him the fundamentals, patiently guiding him through drills and offering encouragement. Hours were spent in the driveway, shooting hoops until the streetlights flickered on. He wasn't just a shooter, though. He could pass with pinpoint accuracy, anticipate plays before they happened, and had a knack for finding open teammates. He studied the game, watching countless hours of NBA footage, analyzing the movements of his favorite players, trying to absorb their skills and strategies. He dreamed of one day playing in the NBA, of hearing the roar of the crowd, of making that game-winning shot. He knew it was a long shot, a difficult path filled with challenges, but he was determined to make it happen. He was ready to pour his heart and soul into the game, to push himself beyond his limits, to prove that he had what it takes. The tryouts for the high school team were just around the corner, and Alex was both excited and nervous. He knew he had the skills, but he also knew that making the team wouldn't be easy. There were a lot of talented players vying for a spot, and he would have to prove himself worthy. But he was ready. He had put in the time, the effort, and the dedication. He was ready to show the coaches what he could do. He was ready to chase his dream. He dribbled the ball once more, the sound echoing in the empty gym, a promise of the hard work and dedication to come. He looked up at the hoop, his eyes filled with determination. This was his time. The first day of tryouts buzzed with nervous energy. Alex, his heart pounding with a mix of excitement and anticipation, laced up his sneakers and stepped onto the court. He spotted a few familiar faces from middle school, kids he had played against in local leagues. He offered a friendly nod, but the greetings he received were lukewarm at best. The initial drills went smoothly. Alex showcased his ball-handling skills, his sharp passing, and his accurate shooting. He felt confident, like he belonged. But as the day wore on, a subtle shift began to occur. During a scrimmage, Alex made a perfect pass to a teammate who was wide open under the basket. Instead of taking the shot, the teammate hesitated, then forced a difficult pass to someone else. Alex frowned, confused. He shrugged it off, assuming it was just a miscommunication. But then it happened again. And again. He noticed that some players seemed to avoid passing him the ball, even when he was clearly the better option. He heard snippets of conversations, hushed whispers that seemed to stop abruptly when he got close. "He's all right, I guess," one player said, loud enough for Alex to hear, "but is he really what we need?" During a water break, Coach Thompson called out, "All right, let's see some hustle out there. We need some guys who can really bring the heat, not just some pretty boys." He didn't look directly at Alex, but the implication hung in the air. Alex tried to ignore the subtle jabs, the dismissive glances, the feeling of being an outsider. He focused on playing his game, on doing his best, on proving his worth. But the constant negativity was starting to wear him down. He overheard another conversation in the locker room after practice. "He's just different," one player said. "Doesn't really fit in, you know. Yeah, another replied. We need guys who understand the game, who have the feel for it. Not just some white boy who thinks he can play. The words hit Alex like a punch to the gut. He stopped in his tracks, his face burning with anger and humiliation. He wanted to confront them, to defend himself, but he couldn't find the words. He just stood there, frozen, as they walked away, laughing. The excitement he had felt on the first day of tryouts had evaporated, replaced by a growing sense of unease and isolation. He realized that it wasn't just about his skills on the court. It was about something else, something he couldn't control. It was about the color of his skin. He walked out of the locker room, his head down, his shoulders slumped. The gym, which had once been his sanctuary, now felt like a hostile place. He wasn't sure if he could handle this. He wasn't sure if he even wanted to be on the team anymore. The dream he had held so dear suddenly seemed a lot further away. The weight of the previous days pressed down on Alex as he walked towards the gym for the third day of tryouts. The laughter and camaraderie he had once associated with basketball were now replaced by a gnawing anxiety. He felt like he was walking on eggshells, constantly aware of the glances and whispers directed his way. He tried to shake off the negativity, reminding himself of his skills, his dedication, his dream. He focused on the task at hand, determined to prove himself despite the prejudice he faced. But the feeling of being an outsider persisted, a constant reminder that he was different. During a break, Alex went to the water fountain near the coach's office. The door was slightly ajar, and he could hear voices inside. He didn't mean to eavesdrop, but the conversation caught his attention. I'm just not sure about him, coach, one of the assistant coaches was saying. He's got the skills, no doubt, but... But what? Coach Thompson replied, his voice sharp. Well, he's white, the assistant coach said hesitantly. And this team has always been different. I just don't know if he'll fit in. If the other players will accept him. Alex froze, his blood turning to ice. He couldn't believe what he was hearing. They were actually questioning his place on the team because of his race. We need to win, John, Coach Thompson said, his voice lower now. And if he can help us win, then that's all that matters. But I understand your concerns. We need to see if he's tough enough, if he can handle the pressure. This isn't some country club team. This is real basketball. I know, coach, the assistant coach replied. I don't want to create any problems in the locker room. You know how these things can be. Alex couldn't hear any more. He turned and walked away, his heart pounding in his chest. The conversation confirmed his worst fears. They didn't see him as a basketball player, they saw him as a white kid who didn't belong. Doubt began to creep into his mind. Was he good enough? Did he really have what it takes? Maybe they were right. Maybe he didn't belong. Maybe he should just give up. But then, anger surged through him. Anger at the coaches for judging him based on his race. Anger at the teammates who had treated him like an outsider. Anger at himself for even considering giving up. He clenched his fists, his jaw tight. He wouldn't let them win. He wouldn't let them crush his dream. He would prove them wrong. He would show them that he belonged. He would work harder, train harder, and play harder than anyone else. He would become the best basketball player he could be, and he would silence all the doubters. He walked back onto the court, his eyes blazing with determination. The negativity he had felt earlier was gone, replaced by a fierce resolve. He would use their prejudice as fuel, as motivation to push himself to the limit. He would show them what he was made of. He would show them that he was more than just a white kid. He was a basketball player, and he was ready to fight for his dream. Alex walked through the front door, the weight of the day heavy on his shoulders. He tried to plaster a smile on his face as he greeted his parents, but they saw right through him. His mom, Sarah, noticed the slump in his posture, the lack of sparkle in his eyes. His dad, Tom, picked up on the forced cheerfulness in his voice. "Hey, champ," Tom said, ruffling Alex's hair. "How were tryouts?" Alex shrugged, avoiding eye contact. "They were okay," he mumbled, heading towards his room. Sarah exchanged a worried glance with Tom. They knew something was wrong. They had seen the fire in Alex's eyes, the passion he had for basketball. It was unusual for him to be so subdued. Later that evening, during dinner, Sarah gently broached the subject. "So, Alex, tell us about tryouts. Are you feeling good about your chances?" Alex sighed, pushing his food around his plate. "I don't know, Mom," he said quietly. I don't think they want me on the team." "Why do you say that?" Tom asked, his brow furrowed. Alex hesitated, unsure how to explain. He didn't want to burden his parents with his problems, but he needed to talk to someone. He took a deep breath and told them everything. The subtle exclusion, the prejudiced comments, the conversation he had overheard. Sarah and Tom listened intently, their faces growing increasingly concerned. They were shocked and angered by what Alex had experienced. They couldn't believe that he was being judged based on the color of his skin. "That's not right, Alex," Sarah said, her voice filled with emotion. "You shouldn't have to go through that." "They're wrong to treat you that way," Tom added, his voice firm. "You're a talented player, and you deserve a fair chance." Alex looked up at his parents, his eyes filled with doubt. "But what if they're right, Dad? What if I don't belong? What if I'm not good enough?" Tom reached across the table and took Alex's hand. "Don't ever let anyone tell you that you're not good enough, Alex," he said, his voice filled with conviction. "You have a gift. You have the talent, the dedication, and the heart to achieve anything you set your mind to." Sarah nodded in agreement. "They're trying to bring you down, Alex," she said. "Don't let them. Use their negativity as fuel. Prove them wrong. The world isn't always fair, son," Tom continued. "You're going to face challenges and obstacles along the way. But it's how you respond to those challenges that defines you. Don't let their prejudice defeat you. Use it to make you stronger." He paused, then added, "You might have to work harder than everyone else to get what you want. You might have to prove yourself over and over again. But if you're willing to put in the effort, you can achieve anything." Sarah squeezed Alex's hand. "We believe in you, Alex," she said. "We know you can do this. Just stay focused, keep working hard, and never give up on your dream." Alex looked at his parents, their unwavering support washing over him. He felt a renewed sense of determination. They were right. He couldn't let the prejudice of others define him. He had to fight for his dream. "Thanks, Mom," he said, his voice stronger now. "Thanks, Dad. I won't let you down." Tom smiled. "We know you won't, champ," he said. "Now go out there and show them what you're made of." The next morning, Alex woke up before dawn. The fire of determination burned brightly within him. He couldn't control what others thought of him, but he could control how hard he worked. He laced up his sneakers and headed out the door, a new sense of purpose driving him forward. His first stop was the local park, where he spent hours running sprints, doing push-ups, and practicing his footwork. He pushed himself to the limit, his muscles burning, his lungs aching. He imagined the faces of the coaches and teammates who had doubted him, using their negativity as fuel to power through the pain. After school, instead of going home, Alex went straight to the gym. He spent hours honing his skills, practicing his shooting, his dribbling, and his passing. He worked on his weaknesses, determined to turn them into strengths. He visualized game situations, practicing different scenarios until they became second nature. He also started lifting weights, determined to get stronger and more physical. He knew he wasn't the biggest guy on the court, but he could compensate with strength and agility. He followed a strict training regimen, focusing on building muscle and improving his endurance. He watched videos of NBA players, studying their techniques, their strategies, and their mental toughness. He wanted to learn from the best, to absorb their knowledge and apply it to his own game. He even changed his diet, focusing on healthy foods that would fuel his body and mind. He cut out junk food and sugary drinks, replacing them with fruits, vegetables, and lean protein. He knew that every little detail mattered, and he was willing to do whatever it took to improve. His schedule became grueling. Early morning workouts, school, afternoon gym sessions, weightlifting, film study, and a healthy diet. It was exhausting, but Alex thrived on it. He felt like he was finally taking control of his destiny. He started seeing improvements in his game almost immediately. His shots were more accurate, his passes were crisper, and his movements were quicker and more fluid. He was becoming a better player, and he knew it. The other players on the team noticed the change too. They saw him putting in the extra work, the extra effort, and they started to respect him for it. Some of them even started joining him for his workouts, eager to learn from his dedication. Coach Thompson also took notice. He saw the fire in Alex's eyes, the determination in his movements, and he knew that something had changed. He started giving Alex more opportunities, more chances to prove himself. Alex seized those opportunities, playing with a newfound confidence and intensity. He was no longer just a skinny white kid trying to fit in. He was a basketball player, and he was determined to be the best. He was driven by something deeper than just a love for the game. He was driven by a desire to prove himself, to silence the doubters, and to achieve his dream. He would show them all. The first game of the season arrived, and Alex felt a mix of excitement and nerves. He had made the team, but he knew that making the team was just the first step. He wanted to prove that he belonged on the court, that he deserved to be there. When his name was called to enter the game, a surge of adrenaline coursed through him. He ran onto the court, his heart pounding in his chest. He was ready. But the game was different than tryouts. The defense was tighter, the players were more aggressive, and the opportunities were harder to come by. He quickly realized that he would have to work even harder to make an impact. The opposing team seemed to target him, assigning their best defender to guard him. He faced constant double teams, physical play, and relentless pressure. They weren't going to make it easy for him. His teammates, too, seemed hesitant to pass him the ball, still unsure of his abilities. He found himself isolated on the wing, with few opportunities to showcase his skills. But Alex didn't give up. He knew he had to persevere. He remembered his parents' words, reminding him to stay focused and keep working hard. He channeled his anger and frustration into his game, playing with a newfound intensity. He started setting screens, creating opportunities for his teammates. He dove for loose balls, fighting for every possession. He played with a relentless energy that inspired those around him. When he finally got the ball, he made the most of it. He drove to the basket with a fierce determination, finishing with acrobatic layups and drawing fouls. He hit contested shots from beyond the arc, silencing the doubters in the crowd. He showcased the improvements he had made during his intense training regimen. His ball handling skills were sharper, his passes were more precise, and his movements were quicker and more fluid. He was becoming a more complete player, and it showed. Even though he faced tougher defense and fewer opportunities, he found ways to contribute. He played with heart, with passion, and with an unwavering determination to succeed. The game was close, a back-and-forth battle that went down to the wire. With seconds remaining on the clock, and his team down by 1 point, Alex found himself with the ball in his hands. The pressure was immense. The entire crowd was on its feet, screaming and cheering. He could feel the weight of the moment bearing down on him. He took a deep breath, remembering all the hard work he had put in, all the obstacles he had overcome. He dribbled the ball, sizing up his defender. Then, with a quick crossover dribble, he created just enough space to launch a shot. The ball arced through the air, a perfect trajectory towards the basket. Time seemed to slow down as he watched it soar. Then, with a satisfying swish, it went in. The buzzer sounded. His team had won. The crowd erupted in cheers, and his teammates mobbed him, celebrating the victory. Alex had proven himself. He had shown them that he belonged. He had overcome the adversity and emerged stronger. He had proven that hard work and determination can conquer anything. He had shown everyone what he was made of. The game-winning shot was a turning point. It wasn't just about the victory, it was about the validation it provided. Alex had proven that he could perform under pressure, that he could contribute to the team's success. And slowly, but surely, things began to change. The subtle exclusion and prejudiced comments didn't disappear overnight, but they lessened. His teammates started passing him the ball more often, trusting him to make the right decisions. They started recognizing his skills, his talent, and his dedication. During practices, he noticed that some of the players who had previously avoided him were now seeking him out, asking for advice and tips. They saw how hard he worked, how much he cared, and they started to respect him for it. "Hey, Alex," Marcus, one of the team's leading scorers, said after a particularly grueling practice. "That crossover you did in a game last night was sick. Can you show me how to do that?" Alex grinned. He was happy to share his knowledge and help his teammates improve. He spent time working with Marcus, breaking down the technique, and offering encouragement. Even Coach Thompson started treating him differently. He began giving Alex more playing time, entrusting him with more responsibility, and praising his efforts in team meetings. "Alex has really stepped up his game," Coach Thompson said during a film session. "He's been working hard, and it shows. He's a valuable asset to this team, and we need him to continue playing at this level." The assistant coach, John, who had initially expressed concerns about Alex's place on the team, also had a change of heart. He saw how Alex's hard work and determination were inspiring the other players, and he realized that he had misjudged him. "You know, Alex," John said one day after practice. "I have to admit, I was wrong about you. You've proven that you belong on this team. You're a talented player, and you have a great attitude. Keep up the good work." Alex appreciated the acknowledgement. It meant a lot to him that he had earned the respect of the coaches and his teammates. It was a testament to his hard work, his dedication, and his unwavering belief in himself. The challenges didn't completely disappear. There were still moments of prejudice, moments of doubt, moments when he felt like an outsider. But now, he had the support of his teammates and coaches to help him through those moments. He had built bridges, broken down barriers, and earned his place on the team. He was no longer just a white kid trying to fit in. He was a respected member of the team, a valuable contributor, and a friend. He had shown them that basketball was about more than just race. It was about skill, heart, and determination. And he had plenty of all three. He was proud of what he had accomplished, and he was determined to continue working hard and pushing himself to be the best player he could be. He knew that the journey was far from over, but he was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. He had found his place. The season progressed, and Alex's team continued to improve, fueled by his energy and determination. They won game after game, showcasing their teamwork, their skill, and their unwavering belief in each other. They were a force to be reckoned with. As the playoffs approached, the pressure mounted. The games became tougher, the stakes were higher, and the competition was fiercer. But Alex and his teammates remained focused, determined to achieve their ultimate goal, the state championship. They battled through the early rounds of the playoffs, overcoming every obstacle in their path. They faced tough opponents, hostile crowds, and unfavorable calls, but they never wavered. They played with heart, with passion, and with a never-say-die attitude. Finally, they reached the state championship game. The atmosphere was electric. The arena was packed with fans, the lights were blinding, and the noise was deafening. It was the biggest game of their lives. Their opponents were a talented and experienced team, the defending state champions. They were bigger, stronger, and more athletic than Alex's team. Many people doubted that Alex's team could win. The game was a hard-fought battle from start to finish. The lead changed hands multiple times, and neither team was able to gain a significant advantage. The tension was palpable. Alex played a crucial role in the game. He scored key baskets, made timely passes, and played tenacious defense. He was all over the court, contributing in every way possible. He silenced the doubters with his impressive performance. He showed them that he belonged on this stage, that he was capable of competing with the best players in the state. He proved that he was more than just a skinny white kid. He was a basketball player, and he was determined to win. In the final minutes of the game, with the score tied, Alex made a series of clutch plays that helped his team pull ahead. He hit a contested three-pointer, made a steal that led to a fast break layup, and drew a foul that sent him to the free throw line. He calmly sank both free throws, giving his team a 4-point lead with just seconds remaining on the clock. The crowd erupted in cheers, and his teammates mobbed him, celebrating his heroics. The opposing team tried to mount a comeback, but it was too late. Alex's team held on to win the game, capturing the state championship. The feeling of victory was overwhelming. Alex and his teammates jumped for joy, hugged each other, and cried tears of happiness. They had achieved their ultimate goal. Alex had played a pivotal role in their championship run. He had overcome adversity, silenced the doubters, and proven himself to be a valuable member of the team. He had shown everyone that hard work, dedication, and belief in yourself can conquer anything. He was a champion. As he stood on the court, holding the championship trophy high above his head, he reflected on the journey he had taken. He had faced prejudice, doubt, and exclusion, but he had never given up on his dream. He had worked hard, stayed focused, and believed in himself, and he had achieved the impossible. He was proud of what he had accomplished, and he knew that this was just the beginning. His journey to the NBA was still ahead of him. The state championship victory didn't just bring glory to Alex and his team, it also opened doors. Suddenly, college scouts who had previously overlooked him were now paying attention. They had seen his talent, his resilience, and his leadership on display, and they were impressed. Letters started arriving at his house, each one an invitation to visit a different university. Phone calls from coaches filled his evenings, each one eager to convince him to join their program. The attention was overwhelming, but Alex tried to remain grounded. He knew that choosing the right college was a crucial decision. It would not only determine his basketball future but also shape his academic and personal development. He approached the process with careful consideration, seeking guidance from his parents, his coaches, and his mentors. He visited several universities, touring their facilities, meeting their coaches, and talking to their players. He wanted to find a place where he felt comfortable, a place where he could thrive both on and off the court. He was looking for a program that valued hard work, teamwork, and academic excellence. He wanted to be surrounded by players who shared his passion for the game and his commitment to success. He also wanted to find a coach who believed in him, who would challenge him to improve, and who would give him the opportunity to showcase his skills. He knew that the right coach could make all the difference in his development as a player. As he narrowed down his choices, he received scholarship offers from several universities. The offers were generous, covering his tuition, room and board, and other expenses. It was a dream come true. He had worked so hard to get to this point, and now he had the opportunity to play college basketball at a high level, with all expenses paid. It was a testament to his talent, his dedication, and his unwavering belief in himself. The scholarship offers were a validation of his efforts, a recognition of his potential. They were also a source of motivation, pushing him to work even harder and to continue pursuing his dream of playing in the NBA. He knew that college basketball would be a new challenge, a step up in competition from high school. He would be facing tougher opponents, more demanding coaches, and higher expectations. But he was ready. He had overcome adversity before, and he was confident that he could overcome it again. He had learned to embrace challenges, to use them as opportunities to grow and improve. He was determined to succeed at the college level, to prove that he belonged there. As he prepared to make his decision, he felt a sense of excitement and anticipation. He was about to embark on a new chapter in his life, a chapter filled with possibilities and opportunities. He was ready to take on the challenge, to pursue his dream, and to make the most of his college basketball career. The future was bright. After careful consideration, Alex made his decision. He chose to attend a university known for its prestigious basketball program, a school with a rich history of producing NBA players. He believed that this was the best place for him to develop his skills, to compete against top-tier talent, and to achieve his ultimate goal of playing in the NBA. The transition to college basketball was challenging. The game was faster, more physical, and more complex. The players were bigger, stronger, and more skilled. He had to adjust to a new system, a new coach, and a new team. But Alex embraced the challenge. He worked tirelessly to improve his game, spending countless hours in the gym, honing his skills, and studying film. He was determined to prove that he belonged at this level. He also focused on his academics, recognizing the importance of a well-rounded education. He excelled in his classes, earning good grades and demonstrating a commitment to learning. On the court, he continued to shine. He showcased his scoring ability, his passing skills, and his tenacious defense. He quickly became a key contributor to the team's success. He also developed his leadership abilities, becoming a vocal presence on the court and in the locker room. He led by example, inspiring his teammates with his hard work, his dedication, and his positive attitude. His coach recognized his potential and gave him the opportunity to play significant minutes. Alex thrived under the pressure, consistently delivering impressive performances. He continued to silence the doubters, proving that he was more than just a flash in the pan. He was a legitimate college basketball star, a player with the talent and the work ethic to make it to the next level. As he progressed through his college career, he earned numerous accolades, including all-conference honors, All-American recognition, and even a nomination for National Player of the Year. He led his team to multiple NCAA tournament appearances, showcasing his skills on the national stage. He became a fan favorite, known for his exciting style of play, his clutch performances, and his unwavering determination. He also used his platform to speak out against discrimination and promote equality. He shared his story of overcoming prejudice and encouraged others to pursue their dreams, regardless of their background. He became a role model for young athletes, inspiring them to work hard, to stay focused, and to never give up on their goals. He showed them that anything is possible with hard work, dedication, and belief in yourself. As he approached his senior year, the NBA scouts were paying close attention. They had seen his talent, his leadership, and his character, and they were impressed. They knew that he had the potential to be a valuable asset to any team. The NBA dream was closer than ever. Even with all his success, Alex's journey through college wasn't without its bumps. The heightened level of competition presented new obstacles, testing his skills and resilience in ways he hadn't experienced before. He faced bigger, faster, and more athletic opponents, players who were just as hungry and determined as he was. He had to adapt his game, learning new strategies and developing new skills to stay ahead of the curve. The expectations were also higher. As a star player on a prestigious team, he was under constant pressure to perform at his best. The fans, the coaches, and the media all had high expectations, and he felt the weight of their scrutiny. There were times when he struggled, when he doubted himself, when he questioned whether he had what it takes to make it to the NBA. The pressure was immense, and it took a toll on him both physically and mentally. He also faced new forms of prejudice. While the blatant discrimination he had experienced in high school had subsided, there were still subtle reminders that he was different, that he didn't quite fit in. Some opposing fans would taunt him with racial slurs, trying to get under his skin and distract him from his game. Some opposing players would try to intimidate him with physical play, testing his toughness and resolve. He had to learn to ignore the negativity, to stay focused on his goals, and to not let the prejudice of others define him. He drew strength from his family, his friends, and his faith, reminding himself of all that he had overcome and all that he had yet to achieve. Through it all, he never lost sight of his NBA dream. It was the driving force behind everything he did, the motivation that kept him going even when things were tough. He knew that he had to keep working hard, keep improving, and keep believing in himself if he wanted to make it to the next level. He continued to dedicate himself to his craft, spending countless hours in the gym, honing his skills, and studying film. He sought guidance from his coaches and mentors, always looking for ways to improve his game. He also focused on developing his mental toughness, learning to handle pressure, to overcome adversity, and to stay positive in the face of challenges. He knew that mental toughness was just as important as physical skill when it came to succeeding at the highest level. He embraced the challenges, seeing them as opportunities to grow and improve. He learned from his mistakes, bounced back from setbacks, and never gave up on his dream. As his senior year approached, he felt a sense of excitement and anticipation. He knew that this was his chance to prove himself, to show the NBA scouts that he was ready for the next level. He was determined to make the most of his opportunity, to leave no doubt in their minds that he belonged in the NBA. He was ready. He had overcome the challenges and remained focused on his goal. The future looked bright, and he was ready to seize it. Draft night arrived, a culmination of years of hard work, sacrifice, and unwavering dedication. Alex sat nervously in the green room, surrounded by his family, his agent, and a few close friends. The television screen flickered with images of the arena, the commissioner, and the hopeful faces of other draft prospects. The atmosphere was a mix of excitement and tension. Each pick was a moment of elation for one player and a moment of disappointment for many others. Alex tried to remain calm, but his heart pounded in his chest. He had received assurances from several teams that they were interested in drafting him, but he knew that anything could happen on draft night. Teams could change their minds, trades could occur, and unexpected selections could throw everything into chaos. As the first few picks were announced, Alex felt a wave of anxiety wash over him. He knew that his chances of being a lottery pick were slim, but he had hoped to be selected relatively early in the first round. However, as the first round progressed, his name wasn't called. He tried to remain optimistic, reminding himself that there were still many talented players left on the board. The second round began, and the tension in the green room intensified. Alex fidgeted in his seat, his palms sweating. He watched as other players, some of whom he had competed against in college, were selected one by one. The minutes ticked by slowly, each one feeling like an eternity. He started to doubt himself, wondering if he had made a mistake, if he wasn't good enough to play in the NBA. His parents squeezed his hands, offering words of encouragement. His agent tried to reassure him, telling him that there were still plenty of opportunities to make it in the league. But Alex couldn't shake the feeling of disappointment. He had worked so hard to get to this point, and he couldn't bear the thought of his dream slipping away. Then, finally, it happened. The commissioner stepped up to the podium and announced the next pick. Alex held his breath, his eyes glued to the television screen. With the 47th pick in the NBA draft, the insert NBA team name, select Alex Johnson, guard, from insert college name, the commissioner announced. A wave of relief washed over Alex, followed by an overwhelming sense of joy. He had done it. He was going to the NBA. He jumped out of his seat, hugging his family and friends. Tears welled up in his eyes as he realized the magnitude of the moment. He had achieved his lifelong dream. He shook hands with his agent, who gave him a knowing smile. "I told you you'd make it," his agent said. "You deserve this." Alex walked towards the stage, his head held high, his heart filled with gratitude. He shook hands with the commissioner, put on the team's hat, and posed for the cameras. He had overcome so many obstacles to get to this point. He had faced prejudice, doubt, and adversity, but he had never given up on his dream. He had worked hard, stayed focused, and believed in himself, and now he was reaping the rewards. He had made it to the NBA. His journey had just begun. As Alex sat down for his first interview as an NBA player, the emotions welled up inside him. He could barely contain the tears that streamed down his face. It was a moment he had dreamed of for as long as he could remember, and now it was finally a reality. "Alex, congratulations," the interviewer said gently. "How does it feel to be drafted into the NBA?" Alex took a deep breath, trying to compose himself. It's unbelievable," he said, his voice cracking with emotion. "It's a dream come true. I've worked so hard for this, for so many years, and it's finally paying off." He paused, reflecting on the journey he had taken to get to this point. He thought about the countless hours he had spent in the gym, honing his skills, pushing himself to the limit. He thought about the sacrifices he had made, the parties he had missed, the friendships he had put on hold, all in pursuit of his dream. He thought about the obstacles he had overcome, the prejudice he had faced, the doubt he had endured. He remembered the times when he had questioned himself, when he had wondered if he was good enough, if he belonged. But he had never given up. He had always believed in himself, even when others didn't. He had always stayed focused on his goals, even when things were tough. And now, he was reaping the rewards. "I've been through a lot to get here," he said, his voice trembling. "I've faced challenges that I never thought I could overcome. But I've learned that anything is possible with hard work, dedication, and belief in yourself." He looked at his parents, who were sitting proudly in the audience. He knew that he wouldn't be where he was today without their love, their support, and their unwavering belief in him. "I want to thank my parents," he said, his voice filled with gratitude. "They've been my biggest supporters, my biggest cheerleaders. They've always been there for me, through thick and thin. I love them more than words can say." He also thought about his coaches, his teammates, and his mentors, all the people who had helped him along the way. He was grateful for their guidance, their encouragement, and their belief in his potential. "I want to thank all the people who have helped me get to this point," he said. "My coaches, my teammates, my mentors. They've all played a huge role in my development as a player and as a person. I wouldn't be here without them." He looked back at the interviewer, his eyes filled with determination. "I know that this is just the beginning," he said. "I have a lot more work to do, a lot more to prove. But I'm ready for the challenge. I'm ready to give it everything I've got." He paused, a smile spreading across his face. "I'm so excited for what the future holds," he said. "I can't wait to get started." He had overcome the obstacles, silenced the doubters, and achieved his dream. He was an NBA player. His journey had just begun, and he was ready to make the most of it. He was ready to inspire others, to make a difference, and to show the world what he was capable of. He was ready to be a champion. The day finally arrived, Alex's NBA debut. The arena buzzed with energy. The bright lights, the roaring crowd, the electric atmosphere, it was everything he had ever dreamed of. He laced up his sneakers, a familiar ritual that calmed his nerves, and walked onto the court. He was no longer just a skinny kid from a small town. He was an NBA player, a member of the insert NBA team name, and he was ready to prove himself. When his name was announced during the starting lineup, the crowd erupted in cheers. He felt a surge of adrenaline as he high-fived his teammates and took his position on the court. The game was fast-paced and physical. The competition was fierce. He was going up against some of the best players in the world, athletes who had dedicated their lives to the game. He knew that he had to be at his best. He had to play with heart, with passion, and with unwavering determination. He had to show everyone that he belonged in the NBA. He started the game strong, hitting his first few shots and making some key passes. He played tenacious defense, guarding his opponent tightly and forcing turnovers. He showcased the skills that had made him a star in college, his scoring ability, his passing skills, and his leadership abilities. He proved that he could compete at the highest level. The crowd roared with approval as he made one impressive play after another. They were captivated by his energy, his enthusiasm, and his unwavering belief in himself. He didn't just play well, he inspired his teammates. He motivated them to play harder, to stay focused, and to never give up. He was a leader on the court, a player who made everyone around him better. As the game progressed, he continued to shine. He made clutch shots down the stretch, helping his team pull ahead. He played with a confidence and a poise that belied his rookie status. In the final minutes of the game, with his team clinging to a narrow lead, he made a series of game-winning plays. He hit a contested three-pointer, made a steal that led to a fast break layup, and drew a foul that sent him to the free throw line. He calmly sank both free throws, sealing the victory for his team. The crowd went wild, chanting his name and celebrating his heroics. He had made a statement in his NBA debut. He had proven that he belonged. He had shown the world that he was more than just a white kid who had overcome prejudice. He was an NBA player, and he was here to stay. His story of perseverance and triumph over adversity resonated with people all over the world. He became an inspiration to young athletes, showing them that anything is possible with hard work, dedication, and belief in yourself. He used his platform to speak out against discrimination and promote equality. He shared his experiences of facing prejudice and encouraged others to stand up for what is right. He became a role model for young people, showing them that it's possible to achieve their dreams, no matter what obstacles they face. He had not only made it to the NBA, but he was making a difference in the world. His journey had just begun, and he was ready to make the most of it. The game ended, and as Alex walked off the court, the crowd gave him a standing ovation. He raised his hand in appreciation, his heart filled with gratitude. He had proven himself on the court, and he had inspired others with his story. He was living his dream. Alex's success in the NBA wasn't just about basketball. It was about the impact he had on others, the difference he made in the world. He embraced his role as a role model, using his platform to inspire young people and to speak out against injustice. He shared his story of overcoming prejudice, of facing doubt and adversity, and of never giving up on his dream. He wanted to show young athletes that anything is possible with hard work, dedication, and belief in yourself. He visited schools and community centers, talking to kids about the importance of education, of staying focused on their goals, and of treating others with respect. He encouraged them to pursue their passions, regardless of their background or their circumstances. He became a vocal advocate for equality, speaking out against discrimination in all its forms. He used his platform to raise awareness about social issues and to promote positive change. He established a foundation to provide scholarships and mentoring programs for underprivileged youth. He wanted to give young people the opportunity to pursue their dreams, regardless of their financial situation. He organized basketball camps and clinics for kids from all backgrounds, teaching them the fundamentals of the game and instilling in them the values of teamwork, sportsmanship, and perseverance. He became a powerful voice for change, using his influence to make a difference in the lives of others. He showed the world that athletes can be more than just entertainers. They can be leaders, advocates, and agents of positive change. He never forgot the challenges he had faced, the prejudice he had endured, and the doubt he had overcome. He used those experiences to fuel his passion for helping others. He wanted to create a world where every young person had the opportunity to pursue their dreams, regardless of their race, their gender, or their socio-economic status. He wanted to inspire them to believe in themselves, to work hard, and to never give up. He traveled the world, sharing his story and spreading his message of hope and inspiration. He met with world leaders, with community activists, and with young people from all walks of life. He listened to their stories, learned about their challenges, and offered his support. He wanted to be a catalyst for change, a force for good in the world. As he reflected on his journey, he realized that it wasn't just about making it to the NBA. It was about the impact he had on others, the difference he made in the world. He had achieved his dream, but he had also found his purpose. He was an NBA player, a role model, an advocate, and a champion. He had overcome the obstacles, silenced the doubters, and inspired others to believe in themselves. He had made the most of his opportunity, and he had made a lasting impact on the world. His journey was complete. He had come full circle and helped others who are in the same situation as him.